All right, y'all. Welcome back. Here with my boy Shayne on Mac.
What's good?
Shayne repping the pack. Shayne repping the pack.
Yes,
And I'm off
sir.
that pack. You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying? We back. We back. Good if it goes better. Welcome, 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 good people. Share this, like it, subscribe it. Good if it goes. We here today. You know, if y'all was with us last week, you know, we spent a lot of time covering the AFC and getting some futures down. So we're gonna switch gears. And we're gonna do some NFC talk today. But before we get into it, Shayne, anything you want to add to the people? Anything you want to share with the people before we get into our picks?
Yeah, so to my surprise, like we even talked about this last week, the Buffalo Bills are still available to win the AFC East at minus 150. They're pretty that number pretty much exists everywhere. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. These are usually not the kind of plays that I'm like big on, but I'm pretty exposed on Buffalo minus 150 to win the AFC East. And I just think it's a great bet for everything we talked about. And yeah, that number's still there. I don't know if it'll be there closer to opening day, but it's there now. So fire away if you want to make a little extra money.
I'm muted. You heard him, y'all. Get the futures down on Buffalo. I think it's good value in that myself. You know, we really don't use the terms easy money or free money on this show, but
Right.
I don't know. It's close. It's close. So, all right, Shayne. Well, let's go ahead and get into some futures.
Let's talk some divisions here.
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
break
start
down
with some
every division.
divisions. Yep. So, we'll start. We'll start with the least, aka the NFC East. What we got, Shayne? What you looking at? I'm coming from points bet. So, what we got?
Okay. So yeah, what do you got up at points bet for each team? Because when I checked this morning, every team was plus money. I believe the Cowboys were like plus 145, plus 150. They were the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind them was Washington at like plus 200. What do you got the Giants at? It was like, I think it was like 300 or 350.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Eagles were plus 5.25.
Okay, so same thing with the Eagles here. So I have Cowboys. So this is points bet. I have Cowboys plus 125, WFT plus 260, and then Giants plus 375.
And you got the Eagles at points bet as the Eagles at plus 525 as well. Okay, so let's just look at this team by team, right? Dallas is the favorite at plus one. Like Mike, you had them plus 125. I thought I saw plus 140 or plus 145, but that might be right. I know they were small plus money and they were the favorite. I can't get to this. I cannot get to Dallas being the favorite in this division. First of all, we don't know Dak Prescott. It's been a while since he's played football, right? Like that ankle in the broken ankle, like we know that's a pretty simple surgery. You know, he wasn't going to be that wasn't going to be a question coming into this year.
Right.
But for a guy that missed pretty much the entire year and then comes into training camp and has some sort of weird arm or shoulder injury that they're like, you know, well, he's fine, but we're going to go take him for another MRI.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's weird to me. Like that, it's weird to everybody, right? And I'm just looking at this team as a whole. Like, yeah, Dak Prescott, when he's healthy, he's by far the best quarterback in that division. And you know, fully healthy Dak Prescott, sure, like that Cowboys offense is legit. But they're still a really bad defensive team. Like like Micah Parsons the favorite to be defensive rookie of the year. Okay, fine. But like that's one guy, if you're like if you're projecting a team defensively, like based on a rookie, like I'm not that's just an over. It's just too much for me. Like I just can't really get to this number of Dallas being the favorite here. Now, granted, it is still plus money. I can't get there. The Giants. no interest in this team, right? Like they're Daniel Jones, don't think highly of him at all. I think they do have a pretty good defense, maybe even a little better than league average, but I don't really understand what they were doing. Like they threw the bank at Kenny Galladay. That's another guy that just cannot stay on the field.
Right.
I mean, like I don't like that was your big, yeah, like that was your big offense offseason splurge. And then you still got Saquon Barkley, who might miss the first 3 games. I think the Giants are going to finish last in this division. Washington, I could see Washington being the class of this division. Like I would almost even lean towards maybe they should even be the slight favorite. Very good defense. Very good head coach. Some real weapons like on offense that people kind of sleep on, like McLaurin, Gibson, Logan Thomas. That's a solid core right there. Then you bring in Fitzpatrick, who can still sling it. Like yeah. That's for me. Like I think Washington should be the slight favorite here. Like I'm not like advocating a play on them, but I would make them. I would kind of flip Washington and Dallas. Like I'd probably make Washington like plus maybe like 170, 175, and Dallas over 2-1. So then that brings me to the Philadelphia Eagles at plus 5.25, and their win total is 6.5 at -150. These are 2 numbers that I'm just like, I don't agree with at all. I bet the over 6.5 for the season. That's official Shayne good if it goes play. Eagles over 6.5. And I threw some couch change on the Eagles at plus 525 to win the division. I can't get to this number, man. Like I think the market is low on Jalen Hurts. I really do. I just think he's good. And I think people are kind of like are sleeping on him a little bit. You know, like I thought Devontae Smith was a great pick that made like all the sense in the world to take him. And I found something too, like on the schedule, just looking at each schedule, that's interesting. So the NFC East has some tougher games this year, right? They all play the Saints, the Bucks, the Chiefs, and the 49ers outside the division. So something I found interesting, the Eagles get the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Bucks, and the Saints. All those 4 games, all at home. Dallas, the Giants, and Washington has to play those 4 same teams, which each of them playing 3 of them on the road.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, that's something like as far as when you're breaking down a schedule that you're going to lean towards an advantage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. So I think like Philadelphia, I think they can win 3 games in the division. Like they could go 3-3 in the division.
Yeah.
And then they just need to find 4 more games outside of the conference to win. Outside of the division to win. I think they can. And I think in a division that's just mediocre, like I think I'll take the upside on Jalen Hurts.
So
where are you at?
For me, so going off points bet, I think Washington was a playoff team, and they were a respectable playoff team, I think. So I think the book showed them some respect at having them at plus 260. But at the same time, I don't think they're that far off from the Cowboys, because the Cowboys are one bad Zeke game away, or one, Dak not being back and one injury away, or, lose one defensive player like they've done in the past. And, they'll be, the clowns of the division. So the way you feel about the Eagles is the way I feel about the Giants. And I know I said on our pod that, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants won this division. However, I wouldn't put any money on it. Only team that I would put money on, some serious money on, would be Washington. So if y'all want to put some cash down, I think Washington is the team that I would put money on. And then, like you said, couch change to the Eagles because this is the NFC East we're talking about. And I mean, you said enough. I don't have to repeat what you said. I agree with you all the way. I can see that too, especially if you're high on Jalen Hurts. And I know they playing now. I don't have it on. I saw a highlight of Devontae Smith though. I think his first catch. So, I mean, they I don't know how talented that team is, like what their ceiling is. Is their ceiling division champ? Because they can win the ceiling not. I mean, they can win the division not being close to their ceiling. This is the NFC East we're talking about. So
Yeah, 9 wins could easily win the division, right? Especially this year with the extra game.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if there was an 8-9 team that came off this division. You know, they beat up on each other, and like you said, and I haven't looked at their schedules as like you did, but hearing that game and how that stuff falls out, yeah, I can understand, you know, liking the Eagles a little bit more. So
yeah, it's an upside thing for me, right? It's an upside thing with in a division that I think everybody agrees is mediocre at best. Why not take a flyer on a team that's that you're getting 5+525 when you have a guy like Jalen Hurts that does have that upside? Like we know what we're getting out of Daniel Jones. I mean, we know what we're getting out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like Dak Prescott is a question right now. Like Jalen Hurts has that potential to be really good, and you know, like you said, eke out the division. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to win 13 games. I don't think they're they have any chance of going far into January, but you know, over 6.5, yeah, I'll gladly take that.
Yeah. I like that too. I didn't have any totals from this division, but I'm looking at the finishing position bets that they have here on PointsBet. Cowboys to finish third or fourth, to finish third plus 475, and to finish last plus 650. I think there's value in both of those.
I think there's a little value in taking a shot at both those. I mean, I can't see how like Washington falls out. That defense is good. And I know I said it on the Good Pod a couple weeks ago, and I got ridiculed for it. And I probably jumped the gun a little bit, but I said Chase Young's the best defensive player in the league right now. And I'll admit that I jumped the gun a little bit. Like it's still Donald. I'm not taking the crown away from Donald yet, but like Chase Young is right there. Like that's a guy that just completely came in and changed the way that whole entire line played. I mean, that Washington defense was tough, man.
Wow.
They were. They won games for him. You know, Alex Smith. You know, like it was the same old Alex Smith, right? The guy had a prosthetic leg. He's walking around like a handicap guy, and the defense is winning games for him.
Yeah.
So, like I would not be surprised if they win it, if they go and win the division. I can't pass up that price on Philly.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's go to our division. Let's go up north.
Yes, sir.
So, I'll let you know what I got. I'll put it back up.
Throw some odds out there for the listeners.
All right. So NFC North again for PointsBet. Green Bay is minus 170. Minnesota plus 280. Chicago Bears plus 500. And Detroit Lions plus 2,500. And before we go any further, we don't even need to talk about the Detroit Lions because there's no way in hell they're winning the division. So enjoy Jared Goff. And that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, if you want to do a quick blurb on Detroit, like if you can find a book that has like odds for teams to finish, last place, it's probably them and the Texans are right there, right? I mean, this Lions team is bad. And I mean, talk about an enormous downgrade from quarterback. So, all right, not really. There's not too much to break down in this division, right? Packers are the favorite, and you can't really make a case for any other team. Now, 170 is what would you say? 175?
170.
170 is still somewhat of a steep price to pay for a division future. But I mean, if I had to play something in this division, it would be that. I just cannot, I can't advocate anything on anybody else. I don't see I don't really see how they're challenged. They didn't get any worse. They probably only got better. Rodgers' third year in the floor system, he's mastered it. He's the Aaron Rodgers we knew from years ago again. What happens after this year, I don't know. My guess, if I really had to bet on it, I do believe that this is Aaron Rodgers' last year in Green Bay. And I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll probably be it'll be a 12 or 13 win year. And I don't, and as far as the other teams, I mean, yeah, I think the Vikings and the Bears they're solid. Like, I still think that they'll make, especially with the extra wild card now, they'll both be in the conversation, I think. I mean, with the Bears, it's really hard to predict on the Bears because we just don't know, what the quarterback plan is right now. Right. And like, even if Fields is, as good as we believe that he will be, it's hard to project that into wins in year one. That's the one thing you always have to realize too about when you're, there's a lot of people betting Bears over because they're high on Fields, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But a rookie quarterback can come in, play great, but it's still not leading to wins. Like we saw with Justin Herbert last year, right? Like he had one of the better rookie years in a long time, and they obviously weren't a playoff team. So Minnesota, solid team, solid coaching staff is solid, but they're still limited with Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. It's just that simple. Defend, and they have no offensive line. Defensively, they're okay, but they've two of the best players in the league at their positions in Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson. So like those guys alone are going to be good enough to help you win games. Like they're probably like right at that 500 level, 9 wins, maybe 8, maybe 10, like who knows? Like they're in that area. But I think it's just Green Bay's division to lose. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, no argument for me. It's Green Bay's division. They got that first place schedule, but the game against the Chiefs at Kansas City, that's gonna be a nice late afternoon classic. I think we're really in for a treat with that game. They see the Bears in Chicago early. Of course, who I want to win that game, but I think that's right around the time that if they're gonna pull the trigger on Justin Fields, he pretty much is either gonna be inserted game before that, or right around that mix. I think if they're gonna do it and they give Andy Dalton games, like it's gonna be probably that Bengals game. I mean, not the Bengals game. The Packers played the Bengals week before that. The Bears have where'd it go? Here we go.
They got week
have the
4
Cardinals
against the Lions.
I mean, not the Cardinals. Yeah, the Lions before that. So it's like, and then the Raiders are after that. So it's like those are games that Andy Dalton can probably win. So
I'm looking at the Bears schedule right now, and like they have a brutal 5-game stretch from week 6 to week 11. They host the Packers, which they'll be a dog in. They're at Tampa, which they'll be a dog in. They're hosting the 49ers, which they'll probably be a small dog in. They're at the Steelers, which they'll definitely be a dog in. And then they host the Ravens, which will be close. Like that's a tough 5-game stretch right there.
A bye week. They got the bye week in between.
Between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Yeah, but that's a brutal 5-game stretch. Like I could see them going 0-5 or 1-4 easily.
Yeah. And I mean, we did beat Tampa last year, but going to Tampa, and this is a different Tampa. Like Tampa became a different team after that Bears game.
Yeah.
After the fourth down.
After that Thursday night game. Yeah, Brady did not look good at all. I remember that. Yeah.
But I don't know if he didn't look good or maybe the Bears just looked good.
Well, yeah, sure.
Combination. But the down shit definitely like that definitely is definitely Brady. Brady fucked up, but yeah, I have no argument about this division. I do have some totals here. Green Bay over 10. The number is minus 160, so it's juicy, but over 10 wins, I don't think there's any way Green Bay doesn't win 10 games. I'm not sure if this is just some flack left over from the Roger saga with the not knowing. But
generally I stay away from betting overs on team totals that are higher like that because injuries can derail. Like any injury, there's very little margin for error, right?
definitely.
When you can only afford so many losses. So like then in this this brutal game of the NFL, like injuries are going to make a difference. So like if Rodgers goes down for even an extended, even for a few weeks, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though I'm
17-game season, like I'm looking at it if it was a 16-game season, that number is probably like 9 or 9.5, maybe.
Yeah.
And I still would like that number. So I think that's kind of how I'm looking at it for the 17-game season now, because this is different this year. It's so I'm trying to kind of see how I'm reading.
It still throws me off, man.
I'm giving everybody like an extra game. Like again, like I talked about Miami, and I had the under on that. I gave that away last week at 9.5, and like I see it right here again. I'm still like, how is that like?
Yeah, I know.
But so yeah, that's where I'm at with Green Bay. I do like them over 10 wins. Minnesota is at 9.
That's that number right there is the ultimate. Yep, they got that right. Don't touch it. You're just gambling. Tough. If you take over under, you're just gambling.
You're just gambling. That's tough.
Yeah, that's a tough line. I know. Most of these season win totals are difficult. They're like the bookmakers have the advantage on these for sure because they're so tight. Very rarely are big mistakes going to be made, and it's just these should be kind of treated as for fun.
Yeah. So. Also the Bears. I know you said a lot of people were saying Bears over. What did you see the Bears at?
I don't remember.
So they had 7.5 on PointsBet.
Yeah,
plus 100.
Yeah, it's about right. That looks right to me. I can't really make a case either way. Like I said, I mean, that 5 game stretch that I mentioned, it's only one division game. And they're hosting Green Bay. So like you're not even talking about games at Minnesota and at Green Bay.
Right.
So I mean that line's probably good. It's hard to really look at that and really make a case for the over. It really is. And this this isn't me as a Bears hater. I just if I thought there was value on the over, I'd take it.
Yeah.
If I thought there was value on the if I thought there was
a number, but I'm staying away from it. I do think the Bears are gonna win like 8 or 9 games. So.
They could.
I think they're gonna in that stretch you said. I think they're gonna beat the Steelers on the road. I think they're gonna beat the Ravens at home. They have a bye week before that, so they get them an extra week to watch them off. The 49ers game, I think that's gonna be tough. I don't think we're gonna beat the Bucks, and probably get swept by the Packers this year, and we fuck around and get swept by the Vikings this year. We only play them like 3 weeks apart. And the last game of the season, that's probably going to be like the super wild card game. Yeah. Like that's probably going to be like whoever wins that gets that 7th spot, and it's on the road for the Bears. So
yeah, that could be a big game.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. So we'll see, because I think they can start out 4-0, maybe 5-0. I think they can win their first 5 games.
You think they can win? You think they can beat the Rams on that first Sunday night game?
Yeah, I think they can beat the Rams.
That's bold.
Whatever. I'll probably take the Bears with the points. So
when we get 7 or 7.5, yeah.
Yeah, when we come back, I haven't even looked at week 1 still. Like I've looked at it here and there, but I really haven't taken a look.
We'll get there
after the preseason. Yeah, we'll get there. And when we do, so I'll probably take the Bears with the points. I took the Bears with the points in the beginning of the season, a couple times people laughed at me and they won. They kept winning, you know. So people laughed at me last year.
And I've actually circled the Rams as a possible Week 1 survivor play too. So
we should talk about that. We got some dead space too. We can throw some survival pool picks out there. Maybe we can even get us a good if it goes survival pool.
Yeah, I'm in 2 different survivor pools. The same pool I've been doing for like 15 years.
Yeah, I might have to talk to you offline about that. I might be interested in that too.
One's like a $50 buy-in, the other's $100 buy-in, and they both get up to like 40 grand each in each pot. Yeah. Survivors, man, everybody, it's the best pool in the world to do. So yeah, we will touch on some survivor this year.
Okay. All right, so we'll switch gears. Let's go NFC South.
Bucks are what, -200 to win the division?
Let's see what we got here on points bet. -200.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess Saints plus 350, Falcons plus 700, and Carolina Panthers plus 1,000.
Yeah, I think this one just kind of speaks for itself, right? Like Tampa Bay didn't lose anything. Like they brought everybody back. So like just from a defensive standpoint, you know, look at the quarterbacks now they're going against in that division. You know, the Winston Hill tandem, Sam Darnold, and Matt Ryan. I mean, that's just not. There's nothing from those 3 teams that makes you think that the Bucks are even going to be challenged. You know, like Bucks are. There's no reason to think that they're going to regress. You know, like it's still. I mean, like Brady doesn't even have to be like that good. He can just manage the game. Like I usually hate that term, manage the game. Yeah. That's all he really has to do. Like your defense is so good and you got these weapons on offense and you're well coached across the board, offensively and defensively. They got probably the best defensive coordinator in the game. And you know, there's just no reason to think that Tampa takes a step back, especially in a division where there's nothing out there that really scares you. Like, yeah, I think Atlanta is going to score point. Like Atlanta's going to put up, there's going to be games where Atlanta puts up 33, 34 points, but they're going to give up 36. You know, like they're just horrible defensively. Same with Carolina. I do think Carolina's offense could be pretty improved. They have a good receiving core. And I think, you know, if Sam Darnold's taking a break from doing his vaccine research, you know, I think like that offense could score some points, but again, defensively, they're just not there. And you know, I don't know what New Orleans is doing with you know Winston and Hill, but I think it's going to end up being Hill, just for the fact that all that money they gave him. I think that's what it's going to be. But I'm not sure. Like you know, Sean he's one of these guys with like this just those huge egos, right? That wants to prove that he can do it with his guy. That nobody else really thinks he can. So like that's why he gives Taysom Hill all these snaps in the middle of games for absolutely no reason. So now he's going to start him at quarterback. And then you got like Michael Thomas, who's disgruntled, who's hurt. I mean, good luck. I don't know. Market seems to be higher on New Orleans than I am. What win total do you have on them?
New Orleans, it's like 9.5. Hold on, because I'm fading it. I'm going under. Let me find it again.
Yeah, I haven't bet this, but you know, Saints under might be something that I'm strongly considering. I just don't really see.
And they have a soft schedule. Well, it appears to be a soft schedule. It's 9. It's -130 for the under, plus 110 for the over. So you're getting an extra 10 cents to the dollar on that over, but 9 is a lot, and it's over 9, so 10.
I feel like they're going to lose 2 to Tampa.
Yeah, me too.
And then like the rest of that division is just going to beat each other up, right? Like I don't really see a ton of separation between
like
any of those teams.
Basically, at that point, it's like home away because
right.
You know, that's what it looked like to me. And then they have the Seahawks in Seattle. And then that's after Washington, at Washington.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, man, I'm not.
I mean, you're going to get probably beat by 21 by the Packers week 1. And, yeah, they're at home, but Rodgers probably going to show out to, like, let people know, like, the bullshit is over. He trying to win the championship before he get up out of there. And he can go on the road the next 2 games. So it's like that's just a recipe for disaster there. Because then what do? Try to roll out Taysom Hill week 4 against New York? Because I think Jameis is going to start. I definitely hear you with the Sean Payton thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Jameis started, and then by second quarter when they down 14-0.
Yeah, well, like they haven't even officially announced a quarterback. Like when was the last time like you've seen that kind of thing work, where you have a quarterback, controversy in camp, and we're less than 4 weeks away from this. I think the opening night is 3 weeks from tonight.
The 9th.
Yeah, the Tampa Dallas Tampa game is 3 weeks from tonight, and like we don't even know who the Saints starter is going to be. Like Peyton probably knows, but like how often does this kind of scenario happen, and then the team goes and wins 11 or 12 games, right? Like I can't really. I'm trying to sit here and think like when was the last time something like that happened? If anybody out there can remind me,
right? It's not coming.
So I don't really see, how the Saints team wins 9 or 10 games. So like I'll kind of look at under. I'll shop around, see if I can find a good price. But you have to go something as far as a win total in this division. I would look at the Saints under.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with too. So I'd bet that.
So that's an official Mike play.
Yeah, that's a pick. That's the stamping there. We stamping. And so I'm gonna go shopping, to see if I can find a better number. I'm not sure if I found a better number than -130, but I definitely love Saints under 9 wins. Love it. And so under 9 wins this year means teams are under 500. So got to keep that in mind as well. Because you can go under 9 in previous year and still be 8-8. So got to consider that as well. That's under 500 football. So now I'm saying that the Saints are under 500 team, and I strongly believe that. So all right, we can go on to the West, which I think we all pretty much agree that West is the best division in football right now.
Yeah, I think you could make a case for the AFC North, right? But I think it's the West, the NFC West.
So San Francisco is favorite, +180. This is all points bet again. LA Rams +200. Seattle Seahawks +275. And Arizona Cardinals +600.
And this is a hard one. Like I think those first 3 teams you could make a strong case for to win the division. But if you're doing like process of elimination, right? When making a pick here, I'm gonna say it's gonna come down to San Francisco and the Rams. And I wouldn't necessarily advocate a bet on +200 to win a division in a division this tight. But if I have to pick the division, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I just think like oftentimes we just kind of underestimate upgrades, right? Or downgrades, whether you're upgrading or downgrading. Like sometimes it just doesn't really sink in. And I think this is one of those times going from Jared Goff, who I've said for years now that he wouldn't even be in the league if it wasn't for Sean McVay.
Yeah.
So when you go from Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford and you put Stafford in McVay's system and you give Stafford for starters, the first time in his career, a defense, right? Then you give him some legitimate weapons and one of the best coaches in the game as far as scheming. Like I've had my issues with McVay as far as certain in-game decisions, but as far as scheming and play calling, he's right there at the top, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's for sure. So I think like this is the perfect storm here.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you, it's you got to give respect to these other teams. So that's why it's tough because San Francisco, like last year, was kind of just like a throw it away year for them. Like they lost everybody. They had so many guys lost to injury. They're all back now, and they're also a team that's very well coached. And they also have, I don't want to try and get ahead of myself here, but they have a potential star in Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't want to take the Rams and kind of like bet against myself because I do think Lance is going to be very good and he's around an already very good roster. And then you look at Seattle, like they still got Russell Wilson, right? DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, defensively, they're just not very good.
Right.
But, you can still lose shootouts to Russell Wilson.
Can't bet against. That's just one of the teams you just can't bet against them.
So you see where I'm at here? Like, this is so tough because, like, I do give the edge to the Rams, but, I'm also not dying to throw any cash on it because of just what's around them. Like, if you put the Rams in any other division, they'd be the clear-cut favorite. But this one, I mean, it is besides obviously like, they're not better than Kansas City, probably not better than Green Bay, but it's close. I think they're right there with Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I think those and Tampa. So I think like that's the three best teams in my opinion in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, man. But like this division is brutal, and it's hard to really pick. What's the win totals? Like I think it's like 10, 9.5, and
yeah. So LA and San Francisco both 10.5. Seattle is 10. And then I was just looking for Arizona. Arizona's 8.5.
Yeah, see that's something that kind of jumps out at me as an under. That's an under for me.
Arizona has a tough schedule.
So
and I know they're a couple years away. I really like that team, but it's just, man, they're in the worst division that they could be in with the type of team that they have.
Yeah, I don't like Kingsbury. I've made that clear.
I don't either.
I do not like Kingsbury. And when you're
Kyler Murray, and I love DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
and that is a really good tandem moving forward. And it's like that's just a team that's kind of like in the way right now. Like they could beat all three of them teams. They could easily chip a win away from all three of them teams, even at home. I don't know if I like that under. I definitely don't like the over, but
I would be forced. I would be forced. I want to look at at Arizona's schedule a bit because
they have a really tough schedule.
With San Francisco back fully healthy and with the Rams improvement, I can't really. I don't see how like Arizona is a 9 or 10 win team. I just can't. Like I'm looking at the schedule now. Like at the Titans, at the Browns, they host Green Bay.
That's tough.
At the Bears, at the Cowboys. Like there's some. They host the Colts. That's a good team. I can't really. I mean, I think under is like definitely the play here, and I'm not saying I'm not turning this into a Tua situation. So let me get that out of the way to begin with.
I already know.
But I'm not sold on Murray. Like I see the talent. Like I don't think he's like I don't think there's any bust potential, but like I think he's probably just average. I think he's a kind of a guy that I think he's a guy the league can catch up to. You know, like when we saw it last year when teams didn't let him run, like when he runs, you're in trouble. But when you really made him be a pocket passer, he struggled. And I'm not like, man, look at the defenses you're playing against. You got to play San Francisco and the Rams 4 times. You know, that's tough. That's tough. And like you said, I mean, Arizona's a victim of being in a brutal division.
Yeah.
Like the talent's there. Like, man, they got some offensive weapons, no doubt. But I don't look at that schedule and the situation and say this is a 9 or 10 win team. I think it's more like 6, maybe 7.
Man, Kyler Murray, he's damn good, man. He almost threw for 4,000 yards last year, and he's played 2 full seasons.
Yep.
So like, he's a well-rounded pro now. They have a really tough schedule though.
Didn't they lose a bunch of games down the stretch last year? Like they were a playoff team for a while.
They were a playoff team, and then
they went on a bad run.
They ended up losing their spot to the Bears towards the end. They had some tough games. I know the Rams beat them like two out of their last 3 losses were from the Rams.
Yeah, that's to me. That's where Kingsbury comes in. Like I'm just not a fan at all. And when you're playing in a division that has 2 of the better coaches in the league, that's tough.
Yeah, they definitely. I just pulled it up. I mean, they beat San Francisco at San Francisco week 1. The only other, what I would call would be signature win, was they beat Buffalo at home. It was a 32-30 game. So,
yeah, and that was when Murray hit that 50-yard.
Right, that was that game. That was that game. Yeah. Other than that, that was in the middle. They lost 4 out of 5 during that stretch. That was the second game, and then they lost the next 3. So it was 2 wins, 2 losses, 3 wins, a loss, a win, 3 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses. So yeah, I don't know. And they only won 4 games at home last year. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I said, signature wins were really Buffalo and then San Francisco at San Francisco only because it was week 1. And I don't remember that game. So they beat Buffalo midweek, and like you said, that was on a but it's football, right? So
it's the NFL, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're a couple years away. All
right. So what is your pick for this division? Because I'm giving a slight lean to the Rams, but I don't have any wagers on it.
I like your point about McVay, man. I think I'm gonna have to follow you on that. I never don't like putting my money on the Seahawks, pretty much no matter what it is. But at 275, when I can get the Rams at 200,
yeah, that's a terrible price. Like I would not.
Yeah, they defense, like you said, it's just. And I mean, let Russ cook, right? But then, like, for how long? Last year.
Pete Carroll wants to run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, then have Wilson make a play on 3rd and 8.
Yeah.
Like it's been I feel like that is the next big storyline in the NFL. Don't be surprised if this is Russell Wilson's last year in Seattle. I think that's like the next, because like that's been rumored. Like you've heard little things about it, right? The last year or 2, and Seattle basically just shut the trade talk down, and it was kind of like the Rodgers situation, right? Where the front office right away came and said that no, we're not trading him. But Schefter said that like there's like legitimate mutual interest to move on after this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. And like they're in a tough spot because San Francisco and the Rams are both better, right? So, I don't see Seattle as a playoff team. I don't. Like if we look at, the 4 division winners, right? So let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say Washington pulls out the East, which we both kind of think they should be slightly favored, right? Washington, Green Bay wins the North, Tampa wins the South, and let's say the Rams win the West. So
Right.
we got 3 wild card spots. I'm confident in saying San Francisco is going to get one of those, right? I don't see anybody out of the East getting it.
No.
And so we got 2 spots. And I think then you're kind of in a, like you're in that territory of Minnesota, maybe Chicago. Could any of those South teams, step up, or then like is Seattle?
Right.
Seattle, then Seattle's in that conversation. Like I don't really like in the AFC. Like I a pretty good feel of how the AFC is going to shake out. Not saying I'm gonna be right, but just going into the season on paper. The NFC, man, those last 2 wildcard spots, assuming like those 5 teams that we just mentioned make it, like those last 2 wildcard spots are really up for grabs. And that's where it's like it's gonna be interesting to see these rookie quarterbacks, man. Could they get them there quickly? Because the Bears were a playoff team last year with like Mitchell Trubisky and Foles. So like you have to assume that. Let's assume that the Bears are going to get better quarterback play this year.
They should.
Well,
you have a veteran who's lasted a while, and although Dalton, I don't think he's going to navigate the Bears to a championship, you at least know what you're getting, like in spite of him. So, and then if they put Fields in, who knows? Like I can see a playoff run. Why not?
Sure, why not? And then Minnesota's right there.
And Minnesota is right there, like you said. Alvin Cook and Jefferson. Kirk Cousins not gonna lose you a bunch of games. He might not win you games, but
he's not gonna get you far in January.
Yeah.
He could get you to January.
He can get you to January for sure.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you saying the Rams in San Francisco. San Francisco, I think, is a championship contender.
Sure.
And we talked about it on the pod, how we feel about Trey Lance. But even with Jimmy G rolling out there, which I think Jimmy G gonna play week 1. I think he'll be week 1 starter. DJ made a good point on the podcast, which we all agreed about it with because it's a fact, but it's just how does Jimmy G show up? Like, yeah, they win when he plays, but is it because of him or is it in spite of him, right? So you're gonna get more of the same with that, I think. But with Trey Lance in there, it's like his talent, like he might have endless talent. We might be looking at a guy with endless talent, really.
Right. And this is why I disagree with you guys, and I think Lance will be the week 1 starter because you have to factor in how much Shanahan loves this guy, and you have no time to waste in this division, right?
Yeah.
If like you think that's your guy and he's ready, start him. The only reason that he shouldn't start week 1 would be if you don't believe that he's truly ready, because like what Garoppolo is. Like they fully expect Lance to be way better. Right. So you don't have any time to waste. I personally think just go. You're playing Detroit week 1. It's perfect spot for him to get his feet wet, right? Like you don't want to be doing this. All right, should we start? When should we start Lance? Should it be week 4? Should it be week 5? It's a brutal ass division, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. We're gonna see a lot of them questions got to start getting answered within the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. But we definitely the NFC West. So.
You got any Super Bowl odds you like for any of the NFC teams?
Packers plus 1,100. So top NFC team is the Bucks. This is all points bet again. Bucks are plus. The Bucks are plus 600. So I think giving Packers plus 1,100, I think that's in comparison to where you're getting the Bucks at. I think that's all right number. 49ers at plus 1,300. I think you're selling yourself short a little bit. And then if we really want to get funky, Chicago Bears at plus 5,000. I love it. Why not? Why the hell not?
How about the Philadelphia Eagles at 90-1?
PointsBet has them at 12.5.
I'm looking at Bet Rivers right now. So they got him at 12. I mean, okay, like if you can win a mediocre division, right? You get a home playoff game, you get a ticket to the dance. And these a lot of these playoffs, this is one game scenarios, right? This isn't the NBA where it's 7 games and the best team's usually going to win. Like I've seen crazier things happen. You get a team that if you get a ticket for plus 12.5 or even plus what I got 90 to 1, you get them to the playoffs. You can make money that way by hedging.
Yeah.
So like, even Washington at 50 to 1. What do you got? What do they have Washington at?
Same 50 to 1 plus 5,000.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the other teams that are in that vicinity, right? You got Minnesota 45 to 1, Pittsburgh 45 to 1, Arizona 45 to 1, Washington 50 to 1, Denver 50 to 1. Out of all those teams I just named, if I had to take one of those, I'd take Washington at 50 to 1.
Yeah. Yes. Cowboys at plus 2,800. That's just not enough.
No chance. Yeah, like some of these.
Yeah, the Cowboys at plus 2,800 and Washington football team plus 5,000. That's just so.
That's the brand right there. That's the name brand. They're taking a lot of bets on
Money
the Cowboys. Yeah.
That's the thing, y'all. Like, y'all gotta understand when so much money comes in on bets, that stuff. Like, y'all gotta learn how the markets work for real, so that you getting bang for your buck. Like, yeah, you might be winning bets, but you might not be getting that value for your money.
Right.
That's what we kind of doing. Shop different books. Sprinkle some change on a crazy bet. You never know. This is the best money you're gonna get on that team that gets hot 6%, So
yeah, right. I said, like, you just want to get hot, get in the playoffs and get hot, right? Like these are one game elimination scenarios where if you get in, you got a shot. If you get in, you got a shot. So
all right, well, that's
that's about all I got.
Yeah. So next week, maybe we can have some storytelling, and we got all different type of exotic bets and some awards. We take maybe a deeper dive into Super Bowl. If y'all got anything y'all see, drop a comment, whether you watch it on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. Drop a comment. We'll talk about it. Like we got season leaders. We can even maybe take a peek at some CFB as well, because
we're definitely going to dive into some college football, and and as we get closer, we'll start touching on week 1 lines too, for college and the NFL.
Let's do it. Shayne, as always, been a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Good if it goes well.